Hi guys, we're here at the Concours of Elegance at Hampton Court 2021, and this year, this is the big hefty program that they've got for it. And one of the things they're doing this year is they're doing the 95th anniversary special selection of British cars. It's basically as a tribute to celebrate the Queen's 95th birthday. Yes, she's 95 years old. And what they've done is they've got a lineup of cars. They're sort of meant to be the sort of best of British, if you like. And they've been selected by the Editorial Director of Magneto magazine, David Lillywhite. And here they are behind me. So they basically go from 1926 all the way to present day, if you like, actually. Apparently, I think there's going to be a Lotus Evija at the other end. But let's start with here. And we are here with a 1926 Bentley 4.5 litre. Not the blower. That's the regular one. That's how it came. I have driven a blower. I keep mentioning that, don't I? I shouldn't really mention it, but I have driven a blower. But that is, and they're really hard to drive. But that's that. So we go through these quite quickly. That's a three-wheeler. It says on here it should be Rover 10, but I don't think that's probably a Morgan. Yes, that's definitely a Morgan. So that's a Morgan three-wheeler. That's the original three-wheeler. By the way, I know if you know about Morgan three-wheeler, you know they've discontinued it, but there's a new one coming, apparently. It's in development at the moment, and it's been spotted undergoing testing and stuff. Austin there. I'm not going to follow this anymore because I don't think that's correct, but that's an Austin. There we have a Rolls-Royce. There's something I don't know anything about. Honestly, but not very often I'm like, what? Lanchester. That's a Lanchester. That's a Lanchester. Alvis. They brought one of these. There's a continuation series of Alvis now that you can buy. You can actually buy brand new Alvis cars. And the way that they do them is that they're making them exactly as they were made originally. So they're not improving them. They've found the blueprints and the template to the original car, and that's what they're doing. Beautiful gold Bentley there. Or would you say that's brown? Perfect for the brown car guy? I think so. Look at this thing. That is the Jaguar SS 3.5 litre. That's the stuff of movies right there, isn't it? That's got to be in the movies. Another Jaguar. You're going to get a load of Jaguars, another Alvis, and again, as I said, you can buy these brand new now as well. MG. So we're going to go through this early bit quite quickly because you've got a lot of these vintage cars, some pre-war, some post-war cars. This is basically the building blocks of the British car culture, if you like, the British car industry. And, it's really, except for oddities like that, what is that? It's a Bristol. That's why I stopped. I've never really liked Bristols, and I can see where that comes from. Interesting, almost a BMW kidney grille on this one. Interesting, isn't it? That's kind of reminiscent of how BMW were doing their grills back in the day. So that's a Bristol. Unusual one there. You've got Jaguars. And what's this blue thing here? Look at this. It's an Austin of England. Austin Healey. Says Rolls Motorsports Limited Tuning Body Shop Repair Upgrades. This is a 1948 Austin A70 Hampshire pickup, resplendent in pastel blue. That's basically your modifying company's pickup truck from back in the day. This would be the equivalent of like a 50s Chevy truck or something like that in the UK. That's what that is. A very early Aston Martin, so this is before they sort of developed their identity, if you like, which came a little bit later on. So very different kind of grille on that. I think, in fact, I am now 100% certain we followed this car here because that's the same number plate that we saw. So this car has been driven to this event, and this is a considerable way down the South Circular, as I recall, because we caught up with it at Chiswick, didn't we? It was a Chiswick roundabout. So from Chiswick roundabout to Hampton Court, somebody has driven this car all the way to this event, which is absolutely extraordinary. And they had the goggles and everything. It is a Jaguar, so my friend behind the camera, Reza, wins that argument. It is or did I say it was a Jaguar? I said it was a Jaguar, you said it was an Aston. So I win the argument. And this is something that is properly in use, as you can see from here. This is a car that gets thoroughly used. But oh my goodness, imagine driving that through London morning traffic, because that's what actually happened earlier today. Another Jag here. And we've got the Austin Healey. Is that another Bristol again? But the interesting thing about this Bristol got some tartan on it. Look at that. That's interesting. Milli Miglia. The 1000 Miglia. By the way, Milli Miglia happening later this year in the UAE. Yeah, in the UAE. There's going to be a special event there. And my good buddy, my former partner in Dubai, Imtishan, is involved in that. So that's going to be tremendous. So another Jaguar there. And then we've got... Let's go around. This chap is trying to take a beautiful picture of a beautiful car. So... But it's a tiny, tiny thing though, isn't it? Look at that. 1956. So that must be the Austin A35. I don't think I would fit in that. What do you reckon? We've got a Lotus here. Lotus must be the Elite, right? I think 1957 Lotus Elite. And then you've got the Frog Eye Austin Elite. It's very famous for its bug eye kind of look. They call it the Frog Eye. It's kind of cute, you know. It is. Let's have a look at it. And check out Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy is in the car here. So she's looking after the car right now, so that's fine. And then of course you got Sir Alex Isagonis's absolute legendary mythical car that lives in a contemporary form even today. It wasn't that long ago that you could pick these up for a few £100 and stuff like that. There could be a first car, you just beat her or whatever. Now of course these command silly money. They're very, very valuable. And then you've got this one, which is alright. My friend behind the camera, Reza, is grimacing right now because this is his car of the show already. He's made up his mind. He wants this car, even though it costs about $10 million or something like that. One of 19, Zagato, Aston Martin, based on the DB4. Very expensive at the time, very expensive today. Absolutely beautiful. And was it Frank Stevenson, is it, who's put it as his #1 prettiest car ever? And the people who are the custodians of the car today wholeheartedly agree. The thing that gets me is this kind of really kind of suggestive triple bubble on there. This is I don't know, make of that what you will, but it's very distinctive, that's for sure. There's an emergency stop button on this. I'm guessing that's what that is. I don't know for sure, but you know, race cars. Okay, let's move on because he's just going to film this all day. That's what's going to happen. We've got E-Type. E-Type, of course, celebrating its 60th anniversary this year. Very popular car. MG. Now this one here, this may not seem a big deal. This very beige car, but very appropriate for the brown car guy. This may not seem a big deal. But back in the day when I was a kid, these were police cars. The police used them. The bank robbers used them. They were in all the TV shows. That was proper British muscle, that, you know. And it was a proper British saloon car. Think of the BMW M5 of its day, something like that. We've got this crazy Marcos here. Marcos is one of those odd companies. Think about Marcoses. They will have a very distinctive clamshell back end. You know, this camback back end that would just literally cut off with this incredible. This was the front of the Marcuses could differ. Well, actually, the front of the Marcuses were very vulgar and very phallic, if you like. But the back of the Marcuses were always sort of cut off like that. So that's, you can always identify Marcus. This one's got a roll cage in it and everything. That's ready to go racing at the drop of a hat. And of course, you got the venerable old 1965 Land Rover Series 1. And just in case you forgot where it was made, Solihull, Warwickshire. It's a really nice one. So I don't know if you saw the reboot Men from U.N.C.L.E. movie, and they had a Land Rover at the end of that. And actually it should have been something like this, but it was very obviously not of its time because that movie was set, was a period piece. It was set in the 60s, and they had a modern one there. It was pretty clear to people like me that they didn't have this one. Jensen Interceptor, of course, I have done a video on this, a review on the Jensen Interceptor R Resto Mod, new car. I've driven the original as well. These are awesome. They are probably, in some ways, and it's difficult to say this because it's standing right next to a car that Roger Moore sported in the Persuaders, but this is probably one of the coolest cars that UK has ever made. There's just something incredible. Not just the fact that they were technically so advanced and clever, but also they're just cool. They just look fantastic. They just have the right image. It's a very 70s image, which also this has as well. You know, the Aston Martin DBS. As the camera wanders all over the place a little bit. But the Aston Martin DBS, of course, like I said, driven by Roger Moore and the Persuaders. Tony Curtis had the Ferrari Dino. But absolutely very, very cool. Not quite the distinctive Aston look at the front of that car. A little bit more like the Jensen Interceptor, but still beautiful nonetheless. And certainly the side profile of that car and just the almost a Coke bottle line that goes along the side here and then comes into this back is just beautiful. The angle from here is just gorgeous. I mean, that's just sexual. What can I say? Jaguar XJ6. A two-door one of these I would so rock, because they look so, a two-door one of these, and in fact even this, you know, if you're into hot rods, this needs to be slammed and shaved and lowered. That's what this needs to be, because then it will just look absolutely amazing. Of course, this is a very splendid example of the original, but I can imagine this hot rodded up. That would be pretty splendid. And here we have a Porsche Gulf truck. So what we're going to do is we're going to see, because I think on the other side of Hampton Court Palace, the main house, is the continuation of this series. In the middle is a different display. So we're going to edit the video here, and we're going to pick it up on the other side. Check this out, it's absolutely going crazy here. So like I said, we just come across the Hampton Court Palace building, and there are cars coming in right now. That's an Iso Grifo there. You don't see many of those around. That's pretty rare. That's incredible. I think, what's that in front of it? A Marcos maybe? And then you've got, look at this, it's just car porn right here. So let's walk down this way, because this is where the rest of the collection starts. Wow, see a little red thing there, that's amazing. Really, right now you're seeing the kid in me, because I've just like lost control. I'm just like, whoa, look at all this. And there's, right, oh, you know the thing that you won't get, right now what I'm getting, not just the sound, but the fumes I'm getting, the smell I'm getting, which is awesome, which is the stuff that you're not gonna get anymore now that we're entering the electric car era. Look at that, that's just started up. That's a classic Bentley, that's gonna come through. Let's just marvel at these cars coming through right now. Isn't that absolutely beautiful in black? And we're just gonna have a look at these other cars before we walk down there. So we've got an Aston Martin coming through. Wowzers, I have not seen one like that before. And then we've got something rather special, a Martini. Now, we're going to talk about this in a bit later on, and then maybe in another video, but there's a bit of a clash. Look at this. That's a proper rally car right there. Wow. They're having a bit of a clash of the liveries going on here between that iconic Martini livery, with several cars here have got that, and also the iconic Gulf livery as well, the blue and orange Gulf livery. We're going to look at that in a minute. That, I'm not even sure what that is. I'm not even sure what this is. Let's walk this way if we can. I'm just waiting for that car to move, and then we can walk down that way, because then we can continue our look at the 95 and 95th anniversary cars. Meanwhile, it's got a Z of Zagato on there. Yeah, that's a Zagato bodied car. It's really rather pretty. And okay, so that's going back there. I'm going to walk across the camera here. That's a very pretty thing, that's for sure. We've got an Austin here, tiny little thing here. We've got Koenigsegg. More Aston Martin Zagatos. Regera, the Koenigsegg Regera is what you're looking at over there. And then you've got another Zagato Aston Martin.
Okay, you see this one? It's parked outside.
This one was parked outside the cameraman's house. Reza Adil is saying this one was parked outside his house. That's a pretty cool thing to have there. That's a pretty awesome machine. So we're moving along so that we can get to the rest of the... So the full name, I've been informed, is the Aston Martin Vanquish Shooting Brake Zagato Edition. Let's go. Jaguar E-Type. Looks like a special edition Mulliner Bentley. Flying spur, I think. That's pretty cool. Oh, but check out the one behind that car. Again, we've kind of gone on a tangent here from what we were doing, which was the 95 British cars. But actually, look at the one behind it. We cannot not talk about the Pagani Zonda convertible behind that. That is absolutely extraordinary. Look at the air scoop. No, just look at the air scoop at the top of this thing. Look at the air scoop on that. I mean, in one way, that's absolutely extraordinary, and in another way, it's absolutely crazy. La Ferrari. McLaren SLR. Why, MSO, that one. So after that short interlude with all those supercars getting in the way of our video, we're back to 1969. So we're back to the 95 cars now. I don't know how far they go, but we've got another Marcos here. 1969, year after a good year, which is 1968. You can tell me why in the comments. So Corniche, really. I love these, actually. You know, if you're going to go convertible, this is the way to do it, right? You know, the ultimate in decadence, right? I always say with the Rolls-Royce convertibles. Now this is quite rare, Panther. Panther was around till I think the 2000s or 1990s, I think. I can't remember, but they did some crazy supercars as well at the time, and I think I did have a picture of one or two of them on the wall. Caterham, not a Lotus 7, a Caterham 7. Triumph. We have an XJS. Well, whilst we are looking at the XJS on this side, we've got the Don Lee Special. That's the Don Lee Special. Check it out, the Don Lee Special coming in. And if you, the next one up, like straight out of a movie, just look at the interior of that thing. That is incredible. The voicing. What is the voicing? Look at the bonnet mascot and look at the wheels. Okay, we are being sidetracked yet again, but just look at the interior of this thing. Hello. That interior is amazing. I have never seen anything quite like that. That's extraordinary.
That's original.
That's a work of art right there. And the trimming and everything, that's how it is?
Yeah.
The original Art Deco.
And the roof.
The original Art Deco. The whole canvas is like that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And what's with the bonnet mascot? Avion Basson. That's pretty dangerous. You don't want to be doing that. Fantastic. That's amazing. Check it out. Avion Basson. I think it's like an eagle. I think it's meant to be like an eagle. That's what that's meant to be. But it's just absolutely spectacular. Complete with the mirrored
French Art Deco.
Yeah, complete with the mirrored wheels and stuff like that. As my cameraman points out, Reza points out, it's an Art Deco French style. The canvas has the same thing. A lot of noise from the number 42 Don Lee Special. Then we've got, looks like a Bentley blower. That's a Bentley blower that we were talking about earlier. And the thing is, like when you drive these, you obviously have to be kitted out correctly, which means the leather helmets and the goggles. That's the way to do it. Aston Martin's coming in. Aston Martin followed by Ferrari. What's that, California? And he's doing his own video.
There we go, there's the car.
He's doing his own video. There you go. That's the way to do it. Right then, back to the 95th anniversary. Reset the. So here we are now. We've moved on to the Jaguar XJS, one of my all-time favorite cars. And I would definitely. Oh man, sorry. You got to look across here. Check this out. What's that? It's a Silver Ghost. That is proper. That's a Rolls-Royce right there. Oh my God, Silver Ghost has to be in silver. Just imagine the magnificence of seeing something like that in the 1920s or 1930s, whenever that was out. I mean, just like you'd be overawed and dumbstruck by it. That's as I am, you know, as I am by this the Jaguar XJS. I've always loved these, particularly in white. Had a corgi model with the Simon Templar motif on the bonnet, of course, because well, arguable, because my Reza says don't buy one, but I'm like, yeah, but they are going up in value. I mean, maybe not the most reliable of cars, let's be honest, but they are going up in value, as are these, which are becoming cooler than they ever were. People didn't always like these, but I loved them from day one. I thought they were fantastic. I was into the whole wedge shape thing, so I always loved the Aston Martin Lagonda, and these were massively popular in Saudi Arabia. where I was for a while. And also the other thing about these cars is, of course, the high tech involved. And the tech for the dashboard, the instrument panel was just a blacked out panel, and which came to life when you turned it on. Of course, all of that meant that it was completely unreliable and everything broke down and nothing ever worked. It still doesn't, but that's not the point. The point is it's just something truly, truly splendid, and it's a showstopper even today. And you got a TR. This is a TR8. Interesting. So the TR8, is that the convertible, the TR8, or so the TR7 was the coupe, was it?
This is a genuine TR8.
So what was the TR8 exactly? That's the name.
TR7.
Yeah.
Rover V8
Oh, so it's got the Rover V8 in it. Oh, right.
different material.
Oh, okay.
This particular one is rare because it's an X chassis. This is X923, and this particular one was used by British Leyland or Triumph for performance testing, and they achieved 137 round the Mara test track with it.
Wow.
So it goes.
So how many TR8s were there?
Well, only officially right-hand drive. It was never released in this country. 2,500 went to the States. 3 of the X cars and 18 other cars. That's all that were ever made.
Wow, that's amazing. I was taken aback by that because I've always liked the TR7, but I didn't know there was a TR8 as well. That's extraordinary. So it must be pretty fun to drive.
Oh, it is, yeah. Do you want to see the engine?
No, we'll come back later and have a
okay,
look
fair
at it.
enough.
But absolutely awesome. We'll check it out later on. Thanks so much. What was your name?
Ian Knudsen. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Ian. Yes. Thank you. Thanks. So there you go, a quick insight from the owner himself into the Triumph TR8. That's an Escort XR3. I think I remember reading it's not 3i. I actually tell you this on the record, but I may have. Actually, it does say XR3i on it. Let's be honest, it does actually say it. I have beaten a few of these in street races in the past. Not that I do that sort of thing, but it may have happened occasionally. And this, of course, would have my dear buddy Imtishan going crazy right now because he owned one. And that is, of course, a DMC DeLorean. Why is it in this lineup? Because of course it's a true global car, if you like. You know, an American guy built in Ireland, paid by the British taxpayer, funded by the British taxpayer, developed to a large extent by these guys. And of course, this is my all-time car. This is my favorite car. This is the one. Forget everything else now. I'm going home right now. Right after this, I'm going home. That's it. This is done. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I know this car very well. If I'm not mistaken, I think that this might be, yes, this is indeed the car we have seen many, so Peter Boyter must be around here somewhere because he is the owner of this car, and I have featured this a few times now. So the only thing I haven't done with this car is actually done a review of it. Maybe I should twist his arm and get him to let me do that next, because I've featured this car and photographed it and videoed it enough times by now. This, of course, is a 1982 Esprit Turbo, owned by Peter Boyter, as I've just said. And of course, the thing that the wonderful thing that how you know that it's his car is he loves to leave little details around, like packets of John Player special cigarettes, and in this case, he's got the fish hanging off the side window. The fish famously, as Roger Moore came out of the water in the movie The Spy Who Loved Me, and he drops the fish out of the side window as he comes out of the ocean, which always begs the question, how did the fish get in there? Was the car that leaky? And of course, skeptical people would say about Lotus, yes, of course it was leaky, and of course there must have been loads of fish in there. Another Land Rover Series 1. This, of course, was the rally car that never fulfilled its potential, the RS200 from Ford. Sort of cut in its prime, really, only just got out there and never really showed us what it could do, but later on won lots of autocrosses and stuff like that. Something of a legend in its own lifetime, and really something that I think really it should have been able to do more. It should have been able to set a better standard for itself, because it was something rather special. We're moving up to 1985, and we've got a Bentley Turbo here. This is a heck of a machine. You know what? These are great used purchases right now because they're not very expensive to buy. I say that in a relative term, but they're expensive to run and to look after. But you know, if you want to arrive in style and then you want to see off a few XR3Is as well along the way, this is the one to get. And then, of course, you got Ford Sierra. I'm guessing that this is a Cosworth. No, this is the RS500. So this is a 1986. Ford Sierra RS500 Cosworth. That's what this is. Now again, you may be thinking, these cars, not such a big deal. Why are they at the concourse? Well, they are a big deal now, rocketing up in value, very collectible, very desirable. Back in the day, of course, you couldn't insure the damn things because the thieves kept making off with them. But now, especially the Sapphire Sierra Cosworth. Another Lotus Esprit. Now this is pearl white. It's beautiful. Reza says this is the one I should get. Lotus Esprit Turbo 40th Anniversary Edition. This is car number 13 of 40 produced in 1988. Now the 1988 was the Peter Stevens car. That's a mini Bugatti just going past there. Check it out. So the 1988 was the Peter Stevens car. So this was the first time that it was restyled. So you had the S1, S2, S3, and then this was the restyle, which Giugiaro kind of approved of. Giugiaro designed the original car. Peter Stevens did this one. Peter Stevens, of course, also designed the McLaren F1, so he went on and did some amazing stuff as well. But this was his redesign of the car, which is a bit more rounded, a bit more smoother, a little bit more cabin room because as Mike Kimberley at Lotus at the time was taller than me, in fact, so he needed a little bit more room, so they made more room in this thing. So that's possibly, Reza is probably right, maybe that is the one I should get, just in terms of comfort. And it was redesigned again a little later, I think in 94. This is often called the X180. The 94 car was redesigned by Julian Thompson. Lotus Elite here, the later version of the Lotus Elite. Look at the bright yellow interior of this car, which matches the pinstriping on the bodywork, and the steering is so 70s. I've just grown sideburns looking at this car. I literally have, my jeans have turned into flares and I've grown sideburns just by looking at this car, because look at that interior. World champion car constructors. That is awesome. That is so yellow. That's brilliant. Must be not easy to keep it clean. You know what? And the steering wheel lock inside the car, the old yellow steering wheel lock matches the interior of the car. So I think we are heading now along the line. No, we have more cars to go. Look at this. Check it out. So let's quickly rush through some of these cars. We're now going to jump out. ER Mini. This is a legend as well in itself. At one point, the fastest saloon car in the world. It was a regular Carlton, but it wasn't. It was a Lotus Carlton. So it was retuned, redeveloped, and everything by Lotus. So at one time, it was the fastest saloon car in the world by a long shot. And now it's becoming a highly collectible, highly sought after piece of kit. Very, very special. Yeah, this is the car. And so sorry. How you doing? You alright?
Yeah. Good. Hey, do you know? You should talk about 40 RA. 40 RA.
Before the R.
Yeah, remember 40 RA?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of these.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one of the Carlton that was never found.
Oh, I see. So there's a mystery regarding the yellow Carlton that was never found, the 40 RA. If you know where it is, as the camera is zooming around, and hopefully we'll be, here we are, hello. As the camera is zooming around, if you know where it is, let us know, because apparently it's a big mystery. But anyway, we've got TBR here. I love TBRs. I love the Cerbera. This is not a Cerbera. What is this one? It's a Griffin. It's a Griffith. It's the Griffith. My favorite TBR is the Cerbera. And I remember we had one on review at one of the magazines I worked in, and every day that TBR had a different fault. Like every day. Like every time you got into it, the indicators wouldn't work, or the back of the seat fell off, or something. And it was what was his name? Was it? I can't remember the owner. I can't remember the owner's name. It was his personal car, and every day there was a different fault. Regardless of the fact that there was a different fault with every day, we still all fought over the keys in the office because we all wanted to drive the car, because that's how cool it was. That's a very, very polite Silver Cloud 3 that's passing us with the number plate FU2. Indeed, FU2. GB, FU2. So the plate on what's the plate on this one? Oh, well, there you go. That is, of course, an XJ220. This one is unusual color in the maroon. Again, a car that maybe didn't quite fulfill its potential at the time. Speculators went crazy over it. Didn't quite have the engine and the size and the scale of the thing that it was meant to. Didn't quite crack 220 miles an hour. Nonetheless, an incredible piece of engineering. A beautiful car, one of the prettiest cars ever to come out of the UK, prettiest supercars ever to come out of the UK, and an absolute legend in its time. This is a modern day Ace type thing. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. It's got a V8. Probably it's got Rover V8 because they all had Rover V8s. This is beautiful. This is when Aston Martin started to find its mojo again. This is the DB7. Basically, essentially, Jaguar XK, if you like, is the chassis. The Jaguar XK in itself still was using the chassis or version of it from the XJS. So the underpinnings of that car might be old, but that certainly signaled the modern direction for Aston Martin. great. This is beautiful, very elegant, the way to do it. But I'm going to quickly move on because to me, absolutely one of my favorite, that's a Bentley Azure Millennium, by the way. One of my favorite Lotuses of contemporary times is, of course, the Elise. And this thing is amazing. And I would have one. I'd have one today. And these are now going up in value, especially now that they've been this year they're being discontinued. That's it. This is the original one. This is the first gen one. But I think there's Series 3. Series 2 is probably the one to get. There's a company that does a Honda VTEC conversion to Type R conversion to the Elise. I would do that. I would swap the Toyota engine and put the Honda engine in there. Then you got the Jaguar XK, which of course, as I've said, is where the chassis for the DB7 came from. Then we've got another Rolls-Royce, people resting in their Rolls-Royce. Now we're moving into proper crazy TBR territory. The Tuscan.
BCG, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Fine, thank you. And just a minute, please. And we are now into interlopers because I think we must have completed then. No, we haven't. We haven't, because the last car was supposed to be an Avaya. So for some reason we have a Testarossa in the middle of these cars. So it's all got a little bit confusing now. So we shall pause here and carry on in a minute if I can find the rest of the cars. So we had to stop there because we had an interloper. There was an Italian car amongst the British cars. We've now got rid of it. See, there's a Testarossa-sized gap over there, just in front of this Aston Martin Vanquish, which is part of the 95th anniversary lineup. So, and there's a few more cars, so we're just going to quickly cover off the rest of the cars to try and complete this piece that we were doing on the 95th anniversary cars. Bentley, of course, we've seen quite a few of those now. It's getting to that point now where you're getting down to 95 cars. It's kind of starting to get a little bit repetitive. So another Aston Martin. There we have a Lotus Europa. The Lotus Europa for me is a real oddity because it's probably one of the only modern Lotuses that I actually don't like, because I never really understood why they did that. Never really made any sense. Didn't really sell well. They killed it, I think, in less than a year. So even they figured out that they'd made a mistake with that car. It was taking a great name, the Europa, and just doing this very cynical car, which was just an evolution of the Elise with a roof on it. Just stick with the Elise. Anyway, let's move on. See what else we've got here. So, Bentley Continental GTC, which is an exquisite example of British badge engineering by a German company. Essentially a Volkswagen Phaeton underneath, but heck of a car. Although I have to say that the new Bentley Continental GT is fantastic. Really, really love those cars. Amazing. Morgan, one of my favorite cars. Absolutely, this is a showstopper right here, and this classic one as well. Not so much that one, although that is a heck of a machine, the one behind him. But I just find the front styling never quite sits well with me. But this one, to me, you know, if you're gonna make your presence known, if you're going to be about elegance, if you're going to be about style and glamour, that's the car you need to be seen in. So we've got more Morgans here. Oh, we have quite a few Morgans moving along. So we're not quite the last of the Morgans, but the last of 3 Morgans in that lineup. Then we have a McLaren, and then we've got a 3-wheeler. And again, as I mentioned, the 3-wheeler discontinued now, but looks like they're developing a new 3-wheeler. So imagine the 3-wheeler, when the first cars they made, it's still going, they're still making them, and they're making a whole new one coming out very, very soon. I have driven these. I do just about fit in it. Not the most comfortable of things, but certainly, again, I was talking earlier about that Morgan being a showstopper. If you're out in traffic, this is the ultimate showstopper. Everybody wants to be your friend when they see you in a Morgan 3-wheeler. Also famously driven by Peter Sellers in what movie? The Party. In The Party. And it was Peter Sellers' own car. Because he obviously was a big car guy, a huge car fan, had a whole load of cars, including, you know, special modified minis and stuff like that. But that 3-wheeler was his car, and he insisted on having it in the movie. A little bit of a car diva, that guy, but that was his car. And this is a David Brown, which actually I've reviewed. I'm one of the few journalists in the world to actually have reviewed one of these. So there you go. Basically, it's a car that's based on an XKR. And there is David Brown. Hello there. How are you doing? I don't know if you remember me, but we met at the factory. Yes, and came up and reviewed one of your cars. I'm live on the video at the moment. How are you doing, David?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Are you still? Haven't you sold the company now, or?
No, there's a different ownership structure, but I'm still involved in the business and own part of it. So yeah, it's going good.
That's awesome. And how have things been going since we spoke, which was about what, just over 2 years ago, I think?
Well, somebody invented COVID since then,
Yeah.
so things have been a little different.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, it's all actually going really well. And we've got plenty of orders coming in. We've got production back under control. We still, like everybody else, suffer from shortages that you can't predict.
Right, yes, of course. I think that's happening a lot in the industry right now, isn't it?
Massively. So
And what about the Mini? Because you got the Mini, that seems to be making waves, right?
that is great, yeah. We've just launched an Aselli edition, a Mini remastered, and that's a little sport thing. And yeah, that's actually going really well. It's one of those things that we've got some great write-ups in the car magazines because people just think it's fun. And I think coming out of COVID and everything to do with that, people want to have fun.
Oh yeah, definitely, very much so. Talking of which, I think I should get round to reviewing that one. I haven't done that one yet.
You should. I think you should. You'd enjoy that. It is a great little car. Great.
Thank you so much, David. Great to see you. I'll catch up with you in a bit. Take care, man. Take care. So moving on, and I think we're almost done here because we've got a few more cars at the very end of this lineup. We've got the Jaguar Project 8 SVR that's there. We've got the Aston Martin, a very blue Rolls-Royce there. We've got a Senna and another Morgan at the end of it. So anyway, so there we go. Let's wrap this up. And actually after that, if you keep walking all the way down this, you just see the beautiful gardens and the beautiful grounds of this incredible venue that we're at, which is quite remarkable, really. So there you go. So that was the 95 cars. I don't know if you counted. I didn't count, but I think there were supposed to be 95 cars. I don't think they were. I think there was a few missing. But anyway, we've covered that off. Hope you enjoyed that. And now we're going to go check out the rest of the show. Oh, I forgot to mention, of course, subscribe to youtube.com/browncarguy, to browncarguy.com. Follow me on socials. Search for my hashtag #browncarguy. And if you enjoy my content, then find it on patreon.com/browncarguy. Cool. Let's go make some more videos. A big thank you to my top tier patron and sponsor Jay Williams over Air Technic. Check out their shop for brakes, exhaust, body kits, and of course suspension. Plus, thanks to Muhammad Ali Ahmed and Tom Conway Gordon, who are both tier 4 patrons, and of course all of these guys for also subscribing to my Patreon account and contributing so much towards helping me to continue creating this content. Join them over at patreon.com/browncarguy, and of course make sure that you are subscribing, liking and sharing this channel. Hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any of my videos, and also check out browncarguy.com and follow me on all social media channels. Just search for my hashtag, which of course is #browncarguy.